Hi, my name is Javan, and today I'm going to be reading Smack Dab in the Middle of God's Love by Brennan and John Blase. This story begins smack dab in the middle. Smack dab in the middle, isn't that a great word? Say it a couple of times. It means precisely in the center. Like your nose, it's smack dab smack dab on your face. Well, that's where this story begins. Smack dab in the middle. The man and his wife weren't old and crotchety. They weren't young and giggly either. Well, not too giggly. They were smack dab in the middle of their years. The man's name was Willie Juan, and his wife's name was Anna. They lived in a little Mexican village called Hoppy. Anna and Willie Juan walked everywhere together, hand in hand. They never hurried, but strolled along at a pace that old dogs and little children seemed to like. Willie Juan and Anna could not have children of their own, but their home was always filled with children from the neighborhood, and maybe that was the best thing. The children loved to visit late in the summer evenings because they knew Hannah was going to be humming and making supper pillows. Anna made the absolute best, most delicious supper pillows in all of Hoppy. The sugar-dusted pastries tasted like happy would taste, if it were a taste. But what made them even better was the honey. Anna would pass around as she said, plop a little smack dab in the middle. That made everything just honey wonderful. The late summer air in Hoppy always stirred with the wings of hummingbirds. They seemed to especially enjoy the windows of Willie Juan and Anna's home. The children would ask Willie Juan why do hummingbirds love it? Actually, the children asked Willie Juan lots of questions. Sometimes he answered them, sometimes he just smiled. And sometimes Willie Juan asked questions of the children. One evening in late July, the children had eaten their fill of Anna's supper pillows. Even Willie Juan couldn't eat another bite. The children were laughing in the backyard, stuffed supper pillows and feeling happy folk. It was smack dab in the middle of that delicious evening when Willie Juan asked the children a question. He asked, "Little friends, someday when you are in heaven, what do you think Abba will ask you?" Everyone knew Willie Juan's name for God was Abba. Emily liked to be first, so she quickly answered, "I think he'll ask if I take care of my abuela." Anna tousled Emily's hair. "Your abuela loved to go to church on Sundays, didn't she?" Emily could see her grandmother in her mind. She was very old and couldn't get out of the house much these days. So some Sundays, Emily and her family would go and visit. They'd sing songs and eat pie. Emily's abuela always said that those good visits filled up her heart, just like God's love. Emily was glad Anna mentioned that her abuela. Martin jumped in. "He'll ask me if I remember to feed my water barrel Lucky," he said. "That's a good question," Willie Juan replied. "It's important to take care of our animals." Martin paused and thought about the day that he was busy playing and forgot to feed Lucky his oats. He didn't mean to, it's just hard to always remember. But I've forgotten before, Martin said sadly. Well, Willie Juan smiled. Martin, even when we sometimes forget things, Abba always remembers his love for us. I'm a little afraid of Abba, Irene said softly. He's so big. He's so big. The children thought about Irene's response for a moment, and everyone became very quiet. Willie Juan moved close to Irene and almost whispered as he spoke. Everyone wondered what he would say. Irene, you don't have to be afraid. Abba loves you very much. But how can he love me and so how can he love me so much and love Martin so much and love Emily so much? Willie Juan. Irene's eyes grew big and round. She stretched out her arms as wide as she could. Willie Juan's eyes twinkled as he said, Abba's got enough love inside of him for all of us. Listen, little ones. Here is one question I believe Abba is going to ask you someday in heaven. Did you enjoy the sapapillos? The children began to giggle. They were not sure whether to believe Willie Juan. And Anna and Willie Juan giggled too. And if anyone had the ears to hear, they might have noticed that even the hummingbird's humming sounded strangely like giggling. Then Willie Juan spoke again. Abba loves you so much and wants you to enjoy his gifts. Gifts like Anna's absolute best delicious sapapillos, and hummingbirds and burros and abuelas. And gifts like late summer evenings, as the sun winks goodnight. And good friends like all of you children. And the gift of someone who really loves you. The children all smiled because they knew Willie Juan was talking about Anna. They looked up and saw Anna smiling and tousling Willie's hair. And Anna looked at them lovingly and said, every good thing comes from smack dab in the middle of Abba's heart. Does Abba love even me? Gil wondered. Then he realized he said those words out loud. Irene and all of the children looked at him. Even Willie Juan focused in his direction. Gil could feel the eyes shifted. Gil could feel their eyes and shifted his feet nervously. At this point, Willie Juan moved so close, he was smack dab in the middle of the circle. Willie smiled and said, "Oh yes, Abba is quite fond of you. Gil, I can see that he put you smack dab in the middle of his love." The children smushed closer together and a tiny laugh started, smack dab in the middle of them. It grew and grew until Willie Juan and Anna and the children were laughing with big belly laughs and tears rolled from their eyes. Just like the dollop of honey on Anna's happy tasting sapapillos, we were all smack dab in the middle of Abba's love, a love big enough to hold us all. And that's the end.